The lesson for discussion today is climate and its effects on the environment. So what exactly is climate? But before then, we'll try to discuss what weather is and compare it to climate. So what is weather and what is climate? But before we go ahead to explaining what weather and climate is, let's talk a little bit about a friend that we have who happens to be very, very moody at times. Today he is happy, energetic. Then tomorrow or another day he is very grumpy and irritable. Easily gets angry on certain days. So that's the kind of friend we have, is Alex. So just like Alex has different kinds of moods and it can change from day to day, we can compare the mood of Alex to the weather we experience every single day. So Alex's mood can change quickly, just like the weather. So today Alex can be very, very sunny and bright, ready to tackle anything at all. Just like sometimes we wake up and the weather is very, very sunny and bright, ready to allow us to partake in our daily activities. And then the next day, Alex can be very cloudy and gloomy. The following day, the weather can be very, very cloudy. Meanwhile, the previous day, it was really, really bright. So what does that mean? Just like Alex, whose mood can change very quickly, the weather we experience from day to day can also change very quickly. And sometimes in a single day, it can change multiple times. Now, what about climate? You see, Alex is someone who has various kinds of moods. Today, happy, energetic. Tomorrow, maybe very sad and withdrawn. Although he has so many mood swings, he has a generally consistent personality. So for Alex, he has a general optimistic personality towards life, always looking at the bright side of things and finding solutions to problems. So that is Alex for you. So he has a particular mood based on how he feels in the day, but he has a generally consistent personality, and that personality can be compared to climate. So this personality is like climate, which is basically his overall disposition that shapes how he views and interacts with the world. So after discussing Alex's mood and personality, how does that compare to climate and weather? You see, the weather refers to the temporal and local condition of the atmosphere at a particular place and time. So if today is Monday or Tuesday, the atmospheric condition of that day is the weather. So it is temporal. It is not something which is quietly consistent over a long period of time. But what about climate? Climate refers to the average atmospheric condition in a particular region over a long period of time, typically over a period of 30 years. So for climate, it is the average weather condition or the average atmospheric condition. Meanwhile, weather is the day-to-day atmospheric condition of a particular time in a particular place in a specific time. So what is the main point or takeaway from this definition? So just like Alex's mood can change like the weather does, his personality remains relatively consistent just like the climate does. So that being said, it means weather refers to the short-term condition of a particular place. Meanwhile, climate refers to the long-term pattern of atmospheric pressure of that place. So now let's talk about climate change. Now we know what climate is. What is climate change? Before we discuss what climate change is, let's visit Alex again. You see, one thing we know about Alex, his personality, is that he's very, very optimistic, very, very cheerful, always looking at the bright side of things, always trying to look for solutions to problems that come up. That is his personality, consistent, although he has various mood swings. But let's assume Alex experienced a series of traumatic events. These traumatic events are so serious and they affect Alex to the extent that they have begun to change his personality. So there's a shift in his personality because of those traumatic experiences. So Alex that we know to be very cheerful, energetic, and looking at the bright side of things, he has now become increasingly anxious, easily gets angry, and now has become withdrawn from people. So there is a change in his personality, or there's a shift in his personality. So Alex has now changed generally from being cheerful to being very, very anxious. And one thing you should take note of is that this personality change in Alex takes place gradually over a long period of time. So how does this compare to climate change? Climate change is defined as the long-term change in the Earth's climate or in the climate of a region or city. The long-term change in the Earth's climate. So that is climate change. Now, what are some of the causes of climate change? You see, remember we spoke about Alex as going through a series of traumatic events, and these traumatic events have actually caused his personality to change. And some of these traumatic events can include the death of a loved one or his own failing health, which has become a really, really big challenge for him. Or some of the traumatic events can be a betrayal of a loved one. So his loved one or someone he trusted, a family member of, or a friend, has actually betrayed him. So some of these traumatic events have caused him to change his personality or have caused a change in his personality. The truth is, our Earth is also experiencing some series of traumatic events that are causing its climate to change. So what are some of these traumatic events that our Earth is going through? Or what are some of the causes of climate change? One of them is actually burning of fossil fuel, where coal, oil, and gas is being burnt in factories all around the world. During this process, gases like carbon dioxide and methane are actually released, and there are some other greenhouse gases that are released during burning of fossil fuel. And these gases get trapped and they end up heating up our atmosphere, leading to increase in temperature that we observe. This actually affects the climate and is gradually causing the climate to change, just like those traumatic events causing Alex's personality to change. This burning of fossil fuel, which in our case is a traumatic event to our Earth, is actually causing the Earth's atmosphere or climate to change gradually. Another cause of climate change is deforestation. Basically, it refers to cutting down of trees, clearing our forests for the sake of urbanization and other purposes like agriculture. And the side effect of this is that as they cut down these trees, it leads to increase of what? Carbon dioxide, and reduces our forest ability to act as carbon sinks. You know, the plants actually depend so much on carbon dioxide, but deforestation is causing the levels of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere to go high, and that can cause climate change. So there are so many causes of climate change, but we are basically talking about just two of them. So remember, those traumatic events cause a change in personality of Alex. So these traumatic events for our Earth is also causing the climate to change. And what are some of the effects of these climate changes in our climate? What are some of these effects? One of them is melting glaciers. So over and over again, it is observed that the glaciers keep melting. And why is that the case? The average temperature or the overall temperature of this world is actually increasing. And the rise in temperature is causing the ice to melt. And what will be the consequences? There will be rising levels of seawater, and it can be really dangerous. And another effect of climate change is drought. So the increase in temperature has actually significantly affected rainfall patterns And there are some areas that do not have rainfall. Even if they do, it comes in little quantity. So there are so many parts of the world that are actually experiencing droughts than they did in the past. And what is the cause? Climate change. So the changes in the climate is actually affecting our world that we see today. So what other effects of climate changes do you know? You can write that in the comment section. And I have a question for you. What can we do to fight the effects of climate change? What do you think? And what are some of the things other countries are doing to mitigate the impact of climate change in the world we see today? Write your answer in the comment section. Now, if you know anyone preparing for BECE or WASI and you think this channel can be so helpful to the person, do well to share the link of this channel to the person. You never know, it might be very helpful. So in summary, what have we learned so far? Well, we've discussed the difference between mood and personality. The mood of someone is basically how the person feels on a particular day at a particular time. And it can change even so many times in a single day. Today he might be happy. In the morning and the afternoon, maybe he's quite sad and detached from people. Meanwhile, the person's personality is the consistent behavior we know of the person. So we compared that to weather and climate, and then moved on to look at how the personality of someone can change over time as a result of traumatic events. So that means the climate of the earth can also change over time because of certain events it experiences. And then we finish up with causes and effects of climate change. So stay tuned, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, stay tuned for our next lesson.